Sixers signed the power forward. Yay! We're going to beat Boston. We're going to win the East. We're going to get to the I'm only playing. Let's be so serious now. But on a serious note, right? If you guys didn't know, as of me recording this video, the Sixers are close to signing Guerschon Yabusele, who is a name that a lot of you would have forgotten about if it wasn't for the finals against USA in the Olympics. But he kind of got that stage, especially Duncan and LeBron, for NBA fandom to remember who he was. Now, I do remember Daryl saying a month ago that they are looking at a power forward who not many fans might have thinking of. So I feel like Daryl definitely did his due diligence on Yabusele and didn't just base it on that Olympic performance. However, I will say this, right? You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. He's being signed to be the 15th man on the roster. I understand we lack size, we lack strength for that position. So he could genuinely carve out minutes. He could genuinely earn rotational minutes at the 4. And I'd say it's relatively fair to be intrigued to see what kind of role he's going to have. But let's pump the brakes and let's not act as if it's something that it's not. He's a guy who's been out of the league for a while and he's tremendously improved since he's been out of the league. Now, he notably spent most of his NBA time with the Boston Celtics as a first-round pick, and I believe 2017 might be wrong, but around that sort of time. But his reason for not being able to carve out an NBA role is that he just didn't give you much offensively. And defensively, he wasn't on the court enough to show what he could do. He kind of reminds me of Grant Williams in the sense of not just body build, because Yabusele is athletic, Grant Williams isn't so much, but I'm talking about how their NBA careers kind of turned out. Remember Grant Williams' first 2 years in the NBA where he was literally called the worst player in the league? Then he had that one season in 2021 where he carved out that role into being one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. Great defender as well. Yeah, I feel like Yabusele to a much lesser degree is carving out that role too. Given a bigger role, being able to go abroad to Europe, playing for Real Madrid, kind of showcased and highlighted his defensive ability. As I said before, his rebounding has a lot to be desired. However, I feel like his motor kind of what strikes through the window. He's a guy that plays hard, and we've struggled at the 3-4 position before having guys that just play hard. Yabusele can be seen at times have a potential temperament. However, I don't really care, for the pure reason that he's a guy that wears his heart on his sleeves and will hustle for every loose ball and is a really hard-nosed player. That's the type of guy we need in a team with Joel Embiid and Paul George. Guys who are going to do the dirty work, guys who are going to die for loose balls and overall be a pesty wing defender. The most improved thing about his game is his three-point shot. In the league, wasn't much of a three-point shooter, but overseas has become a very competent one, shooting around the 38-39% mark in his past couple of seasons at Real Madrid and abroad overall. And he's definitely carved into that role of a stretch 4, I would call him. You're not going to see a high volume of threes. He's not going to be taking 7 of those a game. However, with the 3 or 4 he does hit them at a high clip. So for that reason, he's a guy he can generally rely on. And his athleticism as well. Obviously, the NBA is full of freak athletes, but when you've got a guy who's big, like wide, muscular and athletic too, it definitely helps with the cause. So within the right system, can he be a better rebounder? Sure. But given what we see right now, I know he has the ability to at least box out and be physical inside. Like, there's a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Yabusele might not be grabbing those rebounds, but being able to box out that guy crashing from the corner, allowing Joel Embiid to secure the rebound, is very pivotal. So even though the stat might not show Yabusele got the rebounds, those are little stuff he does which impacts the game. And I believe Daryl has done extensive scouting on this guy, and the Olympics just became more apparent of how good he can be. When I say how good he can be, I'm not saying he's going to be a high-level NBA rotational piece. I'm not saying he won't get there either. I'm just saying be pretty neutral on it, and let's just see where it takes him, because at the end of the day, performing in EuroLeague is very good, but doesn't necessarily translate to the NBA. Then you kind of saw him against NBA talent, elite NBA talent, and you saw his skill set there. So let's see if it can continue on a more consistent basis in the actual league. Let's see the kind of role he can carve out, and let's see how useful he can be. Now, I believe that the power forward role is the most open for grabs position right now, because you've got the 5 right now, you've got Joel Embiid, superstar, best player in the league. At the 3, you've got Paul George, ain't no más to be said, all-NBA level player. I still believe he has that level of playing him, if not definitely an all-star. And at the guard position, you've got Tyrese Maxey, where he's been playing the 1 or 2. You still got a lot of guards there fighting for rotational minutes. The only position out there where there isn't one bona fide guy is the 4. Now, I understand Caleb Martin was a very good pick-up. He's been a very useful role player in the past, but there's going to be some matchups where you need more size. So he might be the starting power forward that gets the most minutes, but there might be more lineups where Nick Nurse wants to go big. And when I mean big, having Drummond and Embiid might not be practical, even though he was open to trying that out. So you might need to go with a guy like Yabusele, who is big in width and is a strong physical player. So you're technically still going big in another way. So that could open up a lot of different angles for Nick Nurse to utilize his different schemes, and it gives you a different kind of approach to the 4 position. So as much as I love Caleb Martin, right, I feel like that's a role Yabusele could kind of grasp out. Not saying beat Caleb Martin out to the starting 4 role, but be available to be used in matchups. And we're forgetting that guys like KJ Martin re-upped. Not saying that KJ Martin's going to be playing a lot of minutes, but it kind of adds that competitive edge to the roster where guys are going to be fighting for roles. They want to get their minutes. So it's going to add a good competitive nature to the roster and a lot of, in my opinion, grit and grind kind of nature too, because Yabusele is a guy who's going to grind his way to get some minutes, and KJ Martin too. So it's going to build a nice little competitive edge to this team, which I'll be looking forward to see. But the signing is not bad. I believe it's a high risk, high reward, because look what we have with the 4 position right now available. Davis Bertans is fucking shit. He's terrible. He's arse. He's stinky. Awful. Shouldn't be in the NBA. Marcus Morris, again, safe option. You know what he's going to get from. You know what you're going to get from Mook. Good shooter, can't defend, can't do anything. Going to take about 12 contested, jab, pull-up jumpers. You already know you're going to get that from him. But Yabusele is like a wild card. Instead of us trying to overpay for a PJ Tucker or other teams finding their Grant Williams, why can't we make our own or find our own? I feel like that's the route Daryl Morey's trying to go around. If it doesn't work out, it's a $2.5 million. It's a minimum contract from what I saw. So it's really not going to be anything big. But if it does work out, it could be a high risk, high reward. And he's hungry. You can tell he's hungry for that next NBA opportunity. He's ready to prove himself and stamp his mark on the league. He made a statement during the Olympics, and I believe this is the time. Over in Europe, over the past 1 to 2 seasons, he's giving you around 11 a game, shooting around 42% from 3, 5 rebounds a game. So again, you can't expect, like, the people that go into Europe averaging 25, 30 points per game, they usually don't translate. That's not what you're looking for. For what he gives you, that's a translatable skill, because you can plug and play him in that kind of role where he's being a defensive guy who can catch and shoot off butt naked looks from Joel, Tyrese and PG, and he can capitalize. So that's definitely a role you can plug and play him and not worry how it's going to translate necessarily. Like, it might not still work out, but I believe the reward to risk ratio is so high that you have to take the risk in signing him. Even though it's not really a risk, you needed to sign someone anyway. He was the right guy that could provide that spark, that could provide the unexpected kind of, oh, we needed that kind of thing. And I'm glad we're kind of going down that route, because, you know, Daryl Morey, everyone has that knack of Daryl only knows big names, whether they're washed big names or guys he's worked with in the past. But I guess he's kind of delving out of that, and he's kind of taking a chance on someone here. But I want to reiterate again, anything and everything I've said here is with a pinch of salt. It's the positives of what I could see he could bring to the table, but also acknowledging the NBA level's a different beast and there's a lot of competition on this roster. So I'm not going to jump here and tell you he's going to be the perfect fit. I'm not going to jump here and tell you he's going to be amazing. I'm not going to clickbait you guys saying, why Yabusele is the missing piece? No, I'm not going to do that. We don't do that over here on this channel. What I will tell you is how his skill set could help, why you have to be very cautious in your expectations of him, and also why he might just be very bang average. But it's worth the risk being taken. So, as I said, low risk, high reward. And we needed this. We needed the power forward. So, let's just honestly get behind that and see what you can do in the blue, red and white. You know what I'm trying to say. But in the comment section down below, let me know what you guys think about this signing. Is there anyone else you guys would have signed? Do you think Yabusele was the correct guy to sign? And overall, what are your opinions on our 15-man roster now? Because now the roster's been finalised. Is there anything you're disappointed in? What do you want to see happen? And what direction do you think Coach Nurse is going to go into during training camp? At the end of the day, I'd still say our roster's in balance. Like, I understand it's filled out, but we still have way too many guards that are going to be expecting minutes. So I'm really intrigued to see what happens there. Maybe they kind of give him Reggie and Kyle Lowry an even playing field. And then whoever eventually finds that solidified role at the guard position minutes is probably going to get traded. For all you know, maybe they don't. Because if you look at the guard rotation right now, let's say hypothetically, you have Kyle Lowry starting the 1 and Tyrese at the 2, right? You've got E.G. Eric Gordon probably giving you backup 2 minutes, and then you've got Reggie Jackson maybe giving you backup point guard minutes. I'm not too sure the direction you're going to go in, because that's a lot of guards that are going to get minutes, because Tyrese is going to be playing heavy minutes. You basically got a guy coming off the bench giving you 12 minutes a game, then a guy actually rotating for Kyle, so I'm not really sure there. Don't expect Jarrett McCain to give you much in his first year, but eventually if he does blossom or does have a game or games where he bursts through due to injury, that then leaves certain guys out of the rotation and they're going to be happy, who knows. So there's a lot of interesting storylines that could develop with this roster, especially with the KJ Martin balloon contract in air quotes. So definitely not unfinished business. But for now, the roster's been finalised. I'm sure Daryl has a lot of plan Bs up his sleeve as well, plan Cs as well. So we'll see what direction he goes in. We'll see how the season starts and how good we might be. But thank you guys so much for listening right now. I'm excited for the season. I hope you are too. And until the next one, I'm out, my people. Peace.